Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In today's episode, I would like to share with all of you my thoughts and try to answer a question that a lot of therapists, like myself, have been trying to answer for the last few months since the pandemic started. So what is that question? Well, you will find out in a few minutes. So are you ready? Alright, let's talk! Hello everybody, and welcome to Therapy Talk, where we talk about all things mental health. First of all, if you're new to my channel, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down there. Alright, and please subscribe to my channel, and also don't forget to hit that bell button so you know when a new episode is out here in my YouTube channel. And also please make sure to give this video a big like, alright? For those who don't know me, my name is Lloyd, and I'm a psychotherapist here in New York City, and I'm also the owner of a group psychotherapy practice called Blue Harbor Psychotherapy. Alright, like I said, in today's video, I would like to try to answer and share with all of you my thoughts on a question that a lot of therapists like myself have been trying to answer, been trying to figure out how to answer this question. And that question is, when are we going back to the office? Alright? May seem like a simple question, but not really. Alright? So, here's the thing. At least in New York State, specifically in New York City where I am, we have not just started our reopening, but we're actually, by the time this video is posted on my channel, New York City would have approached phase 4 of our reopening. So technically, we therapists can actually go back to the office, or actually anyone who works in an office can go back to the office. But there are still restrictions and limitations, making sure that everyone still wears a face mask or face covering, temperature checks, social distancing, hand washing, hand sanitizers, things like that. All those things still have to be in place. Of course, we want to make sure everyone is safe. So that begs the question, when is it going to be our turn as therapists to go back to the office? Now, I know, I've heard from a lot of fellow therapists that there are actually some of you, and please tell me what you think about this, some of you are actually already back in the office. May not be full-time, but maybe like a hybrid version. Maybe part-time, a few days in the office, either actually seeing clients or you're just doing your video sessions in the office, and some days you're actually back home, working from home. All right, so I know some of you are actually doing that. For me, I've still been working from home, and I've been doing this since mid-March when the governor shut down New York State, and everyone has had to be home, obviously to make sure everyone is safe and to avoid the spread of COVID-19. But now that it is, New York City at least has reopened, that is a question that I've been asking myself, and some of my clients actually, when am I going back to the office? Now, personally, my preference has always been working at the office. Why? Because that allows me to have that separation, and I like that separation between my home life and my work life. I always strived for work-life balance. So being able to leave my apartment and go to the office and do work really allows me to be able to work towards achieving that work-life balance. Second, I just like interacting with people. Whether that's the receptionist, other occupants or tenants in the office floor that I'm in, or interacting with security. This may sound weird, but just being around people in this hustle and bustle of the city, even though sometimes it can actually be very stressful to be to be around people, in the subways or in the streets. But there's just something about that human connection. And as a therapist, and I'm sure all of you therapists out there will agree with me, just being in the office, in person, face to face with our clients can help us in terms of seeing our clients' body language, facial expressions, visual cues, verbal and nonverbal cues. All of that are important information that we need in order for us to be able to, really help our clients. So for those reasons, I always prefer to work in the office. And quite honestly, I really believe that working from home, working remotely, will really expand and continue even after the pandemic is over, which I'm really hope it's gonna be soon. So we'll see. I think the pandemic has really shown that working remotely can be done. With all the technologies that we have, Zoom, Skype, other softwares, all of these technologies have really made it possible for a lot of people to work remotely. For those that can do work from home. And I'm sure many companies are now or will be rethinking their policies and procedures when it comes to working from home. And I've actually heard from a lot of people, even my own clients, who have told me that they're actually more productive working from home. And that's a good thing, not just for that particular person, but also for the company or organization they're working for. All right? So specifically when it comes to mental health, there are benefits to and good things about working from home or working remotely, or what we call teletherapy. Research has shown that teletherapy is actually as effective as in-person therapy. So that's a good thing. And there's also this thing about accessibility. Teletherapy allows for more access to mental health treatment. So for example, there are places in the United States, cities and towns where there may not be a lot of therapists in that city or town. So teletherapy allows a client to work with a therapist maybe in a different city or different town, or even in a different state, as long as that therapist is licensed in that particular state. All right. So teletherapy allows for the closing of the gap when it comes to mental health treatment, and it just allows for a lot more people to have access to treatment. And then let's be real, it's just also much more convenient for not just the client but even us therapists. All right. So the clients don't have to travel, whether by train or driving, or you don't have to do that commute to go to the therapist's office, and they can just be at home in the comfort and the safety of their home. And for us therapists, well, maybe not everyone, but just the convenience of going from the bed to here, my desk, and be able to see my clients over video or over the phone sometime. So there is definitely that convenience, but there are downsides when it comes to teletherapy. First of all, I've heard from clients how they really feel or view the office as they view it as it's all about safety. They feel safe in the office. For example, if the issues or the problems the client is having is happening at home, then it's really not helpful if they are doing sessions at home. They don't feel safe at home. So they'd rather be in the office because they feel safe. The office provides that safety for them, the space for safety for them. And then there's, again, related to that, there's also potentially a lack of privacy. I have a few clients who have to go to the bathroom or go to their cars just to get that privacy because they either live with family or they live with a significant other. So there's that lack of privacy. And then I'm sure you all can relate to this. There are technology problems or technological issues. The Wi-Fi is not working properly. The video feed may not be very clear. I've had several issues where I couldn't hear the client. Audio is problematic. We have to be disconnected and we have to log back in. All that, all those interruptions, not very helpful and not very, it just doesn't make our jobs easy, and it also makes it inconvenient when there's a lot of interruptions during sessions. So those things definitely not helpful. But at least to me, the biggest issue about going back to the office is safety. Okay, safety specifically from the COVID-19 virus. Because let's face it, everyone, the virus is still here, all right? It's everywhere. Despite all the progress we've made, at least here in New York State, the virus is still here, okay? As I mentioned, I live in New York State. Specifically, I live in New York City. I'm very grateful that compared to the other states in the United States, our cases here are much better, much lower. Which has allowed all of us to return back to some level of normalcy, meaning that a lot more things are now open and more available. So obviously we're very grateful for that, and we all have to make sure we keep it that way. All right. But like I said, the risks are still there. For example, the risk of leaving for the client, and even for me as a therapist, leaving our apartments to travel to the office. For a lot of people in New York City, we have to go use the public transportation, specifically the subways. And yes, the trains in New York City, much cleaner now compared to before, thanks to more frequent cleaning. But again, and people are actually wearing face masks for the most part, which New Yorkers, we have to keep doing this. But again, the risks are still there. And then we get to the office building. My office is in Herald Square on 34th Street and 6th Avenue. There's been safety precautions, safety measures in place. Everyone gets temperature checks before they go up the build. They go up to the floor. In my case, 17th floor. Limited number of people in the elevators, and everyone is social distance. So there's actually markers on the floor to make sure social distancing is observed, and then everyone is required to wear a face mask or face covering. In the common areas of the floor, but then you can remove that when you get inside the office. And then there's the issue of being inside the office. Again, the office, there's no ventilation. I cannot open the window in the office, specifically in my office, so there's no ventilation. One of the things that scientists have been saying is that the major culprit here is this close-up person-to-person interaction for an extended period of time. So in my case, I'm with a client for 45 minutes, and what? Do I have to put a glass barrier or some kind of barrier between me and the client? Although I will say though that the distance between the couch where the client sits and where I sit is actually a little bit more than 6 feet. But again, there's no ventilation in the office, so that can really present a big problem, which the risk is very much still there despite the 6 feet. So that's really something that we all have to take into consideration. There was an article on Forbes.com that was posted by what is his name? Todd Essig. That was his name. And he was talking about this idea of psychological safety. That's the goal of us therapists, is to provide the psychological safety to our clients. But the question is, can we really provide that if both the therapist and the client have to worry about keeping each other safe, and for the client to worry about making sure that they keep people in their lives safe? If during the session all we can think about is making sure that we are keeping each other safe, is that really going to benefit the client? Because if that's more of the concern or the worry instead of the actual issues they want to work on in therapy, then is that really going to be helpful for the client? And the other thing too is, we could actually wear masks, but is that really helpful too if I cannot see the client's facial expression? Again, the verbal and the nonverbal cues, visual cues, all that, is it really helpful in the context of treatment? So again, those things I'm sure is possible to do, but at the end of the day, is it really going to be helpful and beneficial to the client? So can I ensure psychological safety to the client? All right. So, and one more thing, insurance companies, at least for some, did not cover teletherapy before the pandemic, and then they did, and they still do. So the question is, until when? And will they cover it after a certain period of time? So will people have access to teletherapy? Because if not, then, and if the insurance companies will not cover it anymore, does that mean that all of us now are forced to go to the office so that insurance companies pays for those services? Is it really necessary? So again, those things, again, like I said earlier, it's really complicated right now. So at least for me, as of today, I am still working from home, and that's still something that I will continue for the foreseeable future. I know, and for those that are actually now back in the office, I would love to hear from you. How, about your experiences working back in the office, whether full-time or this hybrid version. I would love to know about your experiences. And for you, my fellow therapists who have decided to work from home indefinitely, I also would love to know from you, all of you, what are your thoughts about going back to the office? So please make sure to put those thoughts and comments down in the comment section. All right? And before I end this video, as I always say, I would like to take this moment to thank, big thanks to all of our healthcare workers and all of our essential workers for all the work you've done in the last few months, and for all the work that you continue to do to make sure that we are safe and healthy. So thank you very much. Mwah. All right? So that's it for today's video. If you have any questions or any comments, please make sure to put that down in the comment sections, and I would love to interact with all of you. If you'd like to, and if you have any other further questions, you can also find me on our website. That's blueharborpsychotherapy.com, or you can email me directly at lloyd@blueharborpsychotherapy.com. Alright, again, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you can, again, like I said, give this video a big like, and also please share this video to everyone that you know. Alright, and as I always say at the end of my videos, I would like to wish all of you to have a happy mental health day. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye!